This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off the Kicksville. The Drippers, the Grasshoppers, the Hip Ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
You're listening to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Chrysler Consultants are standing by. We'll take caller 9-844-999-HOLA, and you'll play profile this in minutes. And we do have your headlines on the way 1 hour from now. First, a quick check into Mike Hawk for some of the stories and headlines he is not working on.
All right, a new survey found the top things that make us take our eyes off the road, including handing something to a passenger, singing along to the radio.
Why would you take your eyes off the road when you're singing?
Right?
I mean,
maybe you're dancing,
or you can while you're driving.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you're listening to Stevie Wonder and want to recreate the moment, but you know.
I mean, other than a split second to look somewhere else on the road, but I
mean, I'll sing in the car. The kids sing in the car. We sing something. They love the Chili Peppers. That's the weirdest thing.
I mean, who's doing the close-eyed, high note?
I hope no one, because one, you can't hit it.
Right.
And two, keep your eyes open.
As I say, the thing I think distracts me the most is like a big inflatable or big booty.
Yeah, if there's like a hot person, man, like you'll almost swerve off. One thing that drives me crazy with the kid, they don't get it. And you keep trying to tell them. So it's like, Daddy, look, we're going 60 miles an hour. You were sitting behind me and you're holding, no, just turn around and look. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to turn around and look. We're going to crash and die.
It's a terrible idea.
But they do it all the time.
6% of us have taken our eyes off the road because of a sex act.
All right.
I'll forgive you that.
I didn't need to take my eyes off the road. 26% of Americans.
Dude. I don't think you take your eyes off the road. I think if you're receiving the sex act, your eyes will close for that moment.
Yeah.
Like, you're not trying to take your eyes off, but let's face it, trying to like sneeze with your eyes open, it's just.
Yeah, then you're going to be, banned for a life of thinner.
Great reference, Ted.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
on the
well
Stephen
done.
King, my man. 26% of Americans say they've joined the Mile High Club, according to a new survey.
That's way too high.
That's exactly what it says.
Well, I'm still counting mine, even though it was solo.
I know.
It's not the Mile High Club.
Is any
it's a masturbate.
Raise your hands if you've had sex in an airplane. All right? Okay. There's 5 of us here.
Raise your hand if you've had an orgasm on an airplane.
1.
See? I'm mile high-ish.
I love that you called the Mile High Club. It's like you masturbate. This is, I could join the club if I needed to at that point.
This guy must have a really upset stomach.
84% of them say they don't.
He's been in there for a while.
No.
I really got to go here.
Well, that's the thing. If you are going to masturbate, but when you open the door, make sure you have your hand over your stomach. That way people think you have a bad gut.
84% of them say they did it with their significant other. 5% with someone they just met on that flight.
How does that happen?
I want to know.
That same story is the one that the chick took all the pictures and freaking live streamed it.
Miles could have joined the Mile High Club. Now, granted, the woman was 400 pounds.
Oh, man.
But she loved her some Miles.
This one is impressive. 3% with one of the members of the flight crew. I wonder how many of that 3% are that liar at the bar.
Dude, no, look, if you're at...
I think it's impressive.
There was a time I had a flight attendant who made it very, very clear that she wanted me. She seemed like a bit of a hoe anyway, but like, seriously, man, she handed me her picture and her phone number.
Oh, damn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I believe more people had sex with the crew than they did with somebody they randomly met.
Straight, right.
Yeah. But you're really the man if you have sex with a pilot.
While they're flying.
Yeah, because that's awesome.
Hey, co-pilot, go take 5.
That's right.
A new study found your self-esteem really starts going up in your late teens until you're about 30. Then it levels off a little. But most people don't hit peak self-esteem until
50.
60.
You know what? It makes sense.
Because they don't give a crap.
18 to 30, you're physically, you're probably at your peak. You still don't have a tremendous amount of responsibilities, but you got a decent job, you're doing your thing. And then at 30, reality hits for a while. Mm-hmm. And then, like Miles said, at 60, F you.
Right.
I got
I do what I want.
I'll save 10% every time I eat.
A drunk man in Scotland took a cab to his parents' house to sleep on their couch earlier this month. Only he forgot they'd moved out 2 years ago, so it was a complete stranger's house.
Yes, he did. And she was very polite. She called her husband, who came back, gave the guy a ride home, even though he didn't really know where he was going because he couldn't remember where he lived. So he took the guy to a nearby supermarket to see if he can make a phone call or figure out where in the hell he was, and eventually he figured it out. It's crazy.
It's awesome.
It is awesome.
That's Scotland for you. I love Scotland.
Classic Scotland.
Researchers in Canada think they figured out a way to use our own bacteria to turn any type of blood into type O blood.
That's a big
huge.
deal. It's a real big deal.
It's a huge deal.
It's a big deal.
Now, wait a
Life
minute.
saved right there.
I know it's the universal donor blood, but does that include like the real, like negative or AB negative, like the real obscure stuff?
My thought would be under the umbrella of universal there, Thrill.
You know what? I don't like your tone, man. But you
Tell he was going for a response.
But you make a solid point. You know, when you say it out loud, I connected the dots.
Universal.
What if they're not from this universe? How about that?
So, Mike, what you're saying is this remote will work on my TV?
That's right. And
Remotely.
your DVD player, and your amp, and your Xbox. Should kids' summer break be longer?
No.
I didn't have to get it out.
Are you goddamn kidding me?
Yes.
No, look, there's different, like some places you do like 9 weeks on, 3 weeks off. I can live with that, but do not make summer break any longer.
According to a new survey, the most popular answer with parents is yes.
Who are these parents? I will beat their asses.
41%.
I will beat their, are you kidding me?
Parents of teenagers who have friends that drive.
Possibly.
Or need help out on the farm.
Yeah, there's got to be a certain age. Like, look, man, I love my kids. I have had fun.
Well,
the
that was
problem
you-
is they have more energy than I have, and they have nothing to do during the day except wait for what they want to do with me.
If I'm not mistaken, Ted, that was actually part of the reason for summer break was you spend the wet and cold months inside the building learning stuff.
Yeah.
And then you spent the sunny months out helping out with the harvest, getting everything inside.
That was the
and
general
then you went
idea.
back to school.
Right.
Problem is now the kids don't have crap to do, so now it's just a 3-month vacation.
They really don't, Mike. And even when you try, like they always say, back in the day, you helped on the farm. I just think about the way most kids, including mine, are now. I feel like I'd get up at 4:30, milk the cows. Can you wait until, like, I don't know if kids have changed or if they had to deal with the same crap back then, but goddamn, to get them to do anything is a struggle.
There's such a thing as being too smart to date, according to a new study.
I wouldn't know.
I knew it.
Researchers found that women preferred a man who was smart but not a genius because they're too high maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Men who are geniuses are too high maintenance?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
The study also found
Yeah,
there's no
we
such
are.
thing as being too handsome to date.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've never had that problem.
I really think there is, Mike.
But I'm being too handsome today?
Yeah, I run into it a lot.
I can believe that. I can believe that. You're a good looking man.
Yeah, all the time. He's just so handsome.
I won't date you.
A new study found that women can make a surprisingly accurate prediction of how rich a man is just by looking at his face for a few seconds.
Okay.
The few things that they look for are how attractive he is, how his skin looks, and what they see in his eyes.
Oh.
I mean, the skin I would get. I went to the Hamptons once, and I can't explain it. I was dead broke at the time. I was there for a wedding. But I was saying to my buddy, like, everywhere you looked, every single person looked healthy and beautiful. And he said, man, this is what happens when you eat 3 square meals a day. He's like, that's it. They have, they live healthier.
Healthy
all
food.
this is like, we're broke, and we look like ass.
A company in Minnesota has started offering employees fraternity leave so they can work from home for a week when they get a new pet.
Oh.
I do what?
Pets.
Fraternity.
Fraternity.
Jesus Christ.
I wonder if there's going to be fraternities.
Fraternity?
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Would
Like a
that be
group
the
of
bronies?
dogs?
The
Yeah.
colonies are coming down, man. We're going to party.
Dude, the labs are going to be here tonight. They're wild.
Oh, man, they're out of control. They're like the Q dogs.
Yeah, they're bringing a keg.
He got into alfalfa woof. A 20-year-old woman in Florida pulled a building's fire alarm earlier this month because she wanted to ride home from the cops. She got one.
She
There was a
got
bit of a
one.
detour.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't go home, but
Like, you want a ride home or just a ride?
Right. We're here for you. A security guard that went viral online has lost his job.
Why?
I'll tell you all about it 1 hour from now.
Thank you, Mike Hogg. We appreciate it. Headlines are on the way 1 hour from now. First, the game is...
The Men's Room presents Profile
Steve
This.
Thrill Hill, to please start one. Now, Profile This is played.
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, Skylar. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Liquor and whores.
Liquor and
Liquor and whores. All right, Skylar, you understand how this here game is played.
You know it was.
Fantastic. A New York physician was busted earlier this week for putting his mouth on a patient's breast during a cancer screening exam. Turns out you only need your hands, not your mouth.
What's wrong with that?
The 58-year-old doctor performed what they're calling the unorthodox maneuver while employed at Star Treatment and Recovery Center. The defendant placed his mouth on her right breast and grabbed her hand and placed it on his penis and stated, quote,
Oh, no.
"Do you see how erect you got me?" This is all true. Let me continue. So I want you to think about that. He puts his mouth on her breast. She just went in for a routine cancer screening, and this is what happened. Keep in mind, this was not his first brush with the law. Back in 1996, he was convicted of distribution of a controlled substance in a Manhattan federal court. He was sentenced to 1 year in prison. Somehow, he kept his medical license. He came back, and this is what he does. The legal aid lawyer, Jim Wu, he said the doctor is still practicing as a physician, but he didn't specify where. Probably a good idea. And he added that, of course, the doctor denies the allegations, et cetera, et cetera. Do you believe this doctor who checks for breast cancer with his mouth, apparently, while you place your hand on his penis, is black, white, Mexi, or Jew?
This was pretty obvious. I mean, a white guy, he's trying to get some ass, and he's a doctor.
Well, wait a minute,
He's white. He's white.
He's a doctor, and then he just kisses her during.
No, he's doing a breast exam, and he puts his mouth on her breast, grabs her hand, puts it on his junk.
He's looking for the cancer.
And what were the options?
Black, white, Mexi, or Jew.
And he's a doctor.
He's a doctor. Still practicing. Apparently, he can't do anything to lose his license. He can be a drug dealer.
I'm going to go Jewish.
Okay.
Skyler?
He's got to be white. He's got to be just normal white.
Final answer?
That is a normal white thing, yeah.
Normal white.
Jeez.
Very white.
All right, we're going to find out
As it gets.
if he's black, white, Mexican, or Jewish next.
That was a tease.
You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bichola. You have entered the men's room.
All right, profile this. Takes us to New York, and a doctor who was busted for putting his mouth on a patient's breast during a cancer screening. He then grabbed the woman's hand and placed it on his penis, which he says was erect.
Well, he said, do you see how he didn't use the word erect? But do you see, yes, how excited you've made me? And I'm sure she's thinking, well, I didn't really do anything. You put your mouth on my breast.
He is still a practicing doctor.
Which is amazing.
It is.
In spite of back in 1996, he was busted because he's just handing out drugs. Now he's sexually assaulting women, but they just won't take his license. But the question was this guy black, white, Mexi, or Jew? Ted, you said Jewish. It's been Jew week. He's a doctor. Caller, you said white, because you said it's the, normal white thing?
Normal, that's what normal white doctors.
To both of you. Oh, no! Did it make your head spin? I knew no one would get this. Black.
Huh.
Uh-huh. Look at that.
Okay. What do you know?
He looks what? He looks black.
I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the guy that ran for president, but I'm like, that's what a black doctor.
Carson.
Yeah, I was like, he looks like a black doctor.
Apparently, yes, he does a little bit less hair on top, but yes, he looks like Ben Carson.
Now, for all TV news all the time, it's time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, Armageddon, the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
You guys like Hard Knocks? The show.
I used to watch it.
Not just like, though.
Yeah, I'm sure it's...
Right, and I want to say the Ravens were one of the first teams that were ever on that.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one, of course, but yeah.
And since then, they've had some pretty bad teams on.
They have, and I love the show. I get it, they're bad teams, and you start believing
it. But it doesn't matter. I mean, you can be good or bad, and it's about the players on the team. Players still get cut, all that stuff, you know?
Well, with that said, I don't think most athletes or any coaches go into any season not believing you're going to win games.
Well, and I remember talking about this with you, Ted, and I'm always like, if you don't think you're going to win the Super Bowl, and you said, look, you don't think you're going to lose every game like the Cleveland Browns.
Correct.
You go in, you do and to be honest with you, the Browns look a little better this year. They got some things, but you're right. I don't think anyone, because what player would say, hey, man, I've been practicing with these guys. They'll tell you, hey, there's some work to do. We know what our shortcomings are. But no one goes out there believing you're going to get your ass handed to. Even when you play the best team, if it's the Browns against New England, the Browns come out hyped up, right? You always see this. These bad teams come out, and they might lose in the end. But like that first quarter, they are killing the other team. They believe.
Yeah, and a lot of times, right, like teams, you'll know you're in a process.
Sure.
But right, like you got to have some confidence going into a season or a fight.
Especially a professional. You've made it this far. You absolutely believe you can succeed.
Yeah, exactly. So Hard Knocks, by the way, if you don't know, Hard Knocks is an HBO show that goes inside training camps for NFL stuff. I will say this. If you like sports, it's a great show because it also captures a lot of like raw emotion. Yes. You're going to see these players, get cut, interacting with their families.
Coaches freaking out.
Yeah, and when I say interact with their families too, it's not like, it's not like you're just going to, you can look at TMZ and see the cool players in the club with their hot chick.
No.
But I mean, like, you'll see them interacting with, like, their family. And so I think that's how we learned.
Crying on the phone to their mother.
They used to play, he's he's such a beast on the field. But when you saw that, it's like, oh my God, that is like a gentle giant.
And not only that, but in football, there's no tomfoolery during the season as far as getting into fights with other players, doing ridiculous stuff. That just doesn't happen or you get suspended. So this is when all those players get their aggression out. Is practice right now trying to make the team.
You're practicing twice a day.
Yeah, you're taking some other teams are coming in sometimes to practice with you. You're getting in fights with offense, getting a fight with defense. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the only time
fight I ever got into a football field was with a teammate.
Right.
I mean, it happens all the time. You also get, though, some finicky kind of old school coaches. So this one guy's name is Bob Wiley, okay? Bob Wiley is the offensive line coach at Cleveland. Bob Wiley looks like an offensive line coach. He wears giant, oversized golf shirts that are completely open.
Picture.
Right, like, huge gut.
Right, like you could tell he was like in shape, but like he just has the gut now or whatever. So I believe in stretching, but Bob Wiley here had some different thoughts.
Stretch is way overrated. Did you know World War I, World War II, all those guys that fought in that war, they did push-ups, jumping jacks, sit-ups, climbed the rope, and ran. But none of this fancy okay? Right? And they won 2 world wars. 2 world wars by doing jumping jacks, push-ups, and sit-ups. 2 world wars. You think they were worried when they're running across Normandy about stretching? Are you kidding me?
A few people might have pulled a hammy.
Well, let me see. Give me my rubber band so I can stretch to run across that. You got to be kidding me.
So that guy is like that all the time. Go to the Men's Room Facebook page, too. You have to see what he looks like, okay?
I hear what he's, but you're like, yeah, but that's a war with more adrenaline. These guys are athletes. They should probably stretch.
They should. And trust me, in his defense, it's just kind of set up because stretching for a pro team takes like 20 to 30 minutes, and they got music blaring, and some of the guys are kind of stretching, some of the guys are, but you're right, you have to
warm up.
You have to stretch, right.
Right, if you don't stretch out those muscles.
But his perception is they're just playing loud music and being a-holes.
Right, so he's that old school guy, this and that.
Which I kind of like.
Right, and he looks like that, like he doesn't look awesome all the time. You will never guess what the man drives.
A Beamer.
No, an old Cadillac or something.
No. A white Maserati.
Oh, that guy?
Yes. And like they showed him pulling up and they're like, you need help getting, and he's like, no. And then he tosses the key to the valet guy and he goes, none of that Ferris Bueller BS.
I got to think, if you're a valet, right?
I'm telling you, go to the Men's Room Facebook page, see what this man looks like, and then a white Maserati.
If you are a valet, you could probably look at the car and have a general idea of who's driving it. You're used to the attitudes. I would say that pulls up and you're expecting some suave dude. Then this guy gets out and just, none of that Ferris Bueller. Like, dude, whatever you do, take care of this car. I don't know how this big dude made his money, but it wasn't by being nice.
And, like, when you watch the show, like, the golf shirts he's wearing, like, don't even look logoed. I mean, it looks like he just went somewhere and bought cheap shirts, and then, let's see what he looks like. Yeah, but then he's driving a white Maserati. It shocked me. I couldn't believe it.
Uh-oh.
That guy?
Yes.
Okay.
You remember weight loss intervention we were talking about earlier?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This guy's it's not going to work out for him.
Somebody also pointed out that every time he said hit, like his whole belly bounces up.
Okay, now one misnomer you said that. You said, well, he used to be in shape. I believe that. Now he's a bit of a gut. He does not have a bit of a gut.
All right.
He is.
I was maybe being a little nice.
That is a lot of man standing there, man. I just picture like the beer belly that some guys get. This is not that. No. Jesus. How can he fit in a Maserati? Honestly, I mean, they don't make these things for people that are wide.
They're pretty good size, aren't they? Maserati is a big car, isn't it?
I'm saying, like I thought it was like an awesome little sports car.
His size. If he sat next to you on a plane, you're pissed before he sits down. Seriously, he would have to get a seatbelt.
And a Maserati's going to have like those, I would guess. I've never been in one. But you know, like the chairs that are kind of formed and this and that. Like, I'm with you, man. I don't know. Look, Robin's got, you can see.
Oh, okay.
You can see his gut.
Is it this thing right here?
Yes.
Oh, that's a badass car right
there. All right, watch what he says, said hit. That whole belly.
Oh, it's weird. It doesn't shake. You're picturing it shaking. It literally twitches up.
I'll tell you, go to the bedroom Facebook page. Look up this guy.
I like him.
Yo, dude, you love him. Like, he is great.
Now, wait, do the players like him as far as you could tell?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so it's one thing for us to like him, but, like, I'm not working with that guy, so.
No, here's a used one for sale for only $61,000. What a deal.
What year is it?
2017.
Oh, it's a cheap one. Yeah, the players like him, and when he's the offensive line coach, and in one meeting, he starts showing pictures of hogs and rhinos and being like, see, they're playing low to the ground, they're bending their knees. I was like, Jesus,
they have stubby legs.
Oh, man.
All right, let me ask you this. As far as a couple weeks ago, you're talking about the Browns. They're just an awful team. You said Todd Haley's there. Todd Haley, notorious, a bit of a D.
You can tell players don't like him.
Right. But who's the head coach?
Hugh Jackson?
Okay, Hugh Jackson. Based on what you've seen since you're watching the show, is he kind of a candy ass or a pushover? Every time I see him or hear any audio, not when he's doing an interview, but when they do the audio from the sideline, the way he addresses players versus all the other coaches, I'm like, man, part of the problem might be him. I don't know this, but
I will say this. He is the head coach, and he has a much nicer way that he interacts with the players and stuff. Sure. But Todd Haley is such like an aggressive dude. Like, it appears that eventually that's going to be his team.
Oh.
That's just what I'm calling it. And every coach has a different aspect. I mean, you look at Pete Carroll with the Seattle Seahawks, like, he's not he's like a rah-rah guy.
He's a rah-rah guy. But then you look at Belichick, who calls Tom Brady number 12.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So, I mean, all coaches are different. And honestly, you'll agree with this, Miles. I think for players, too, you have different...
You have different levels, different interactions, different everything.
And there's some coaches
everybody.
you just like better. Like for me, there's certain coaches I can think of that were just, I preferred their style. It was a little more this or that. But
what's your style? Like, ideally, if you were a coach and you could mimic someone's style, what kind of coach are you?
I like the kind of, not rah-rah, but like, you don't have to yell at everybody and this and that.
Oh,
and
my God.
Every once in a while, you just throw in a little kind of sarcastic, and they get the point.
I got you.
Coach Kurlavich used to just scream at everybody. I mean, he would scream at his defensive ends and his linebackers, and I mean, it was to the point where you're like, oh my God, and any one of those guys could have killed him. He was still, but he would have beat, but when you look at them,
he's going down with a fight.
He's going to give it all he's got. And they hated him. He absolutely just kicked their ass day in and day out. He'd walk by anybody who wasn't a position player and on the team be like, hey, Miles, how you doing? What's going on, man? Great to see you. Well, he's a completely different guy.
I think that's
to his players.
Part. I mean, I think that's a big part of it, too. Like sometimes the position coaches have to be meaner, right? And do kind of the dirty work for the head coach who gets to be nice. But I don't know. Like the two main coaches I remember from DeMatha, that was always their style. Not huge yellers, but just be like, you had one rebound. Mm-hmm. You double that, that'll be 2 for the whole game.
There's some coaches that just try to cut you down. Like you just joking around like Rodriguez. Oh, that sucked. That sucked. And you just knew you felt terrible.
I think I kind of prefer that. Yeah, not because you want something to break, but if you do something good, they're like, that was awesome. They talk to you the way your friend would. Like, dude, you effed up. Yeah. They don't have to harp on it. That sucked. Don't have to harp on it, but like, are you trying to get cut from the team or like, what are you doing?
How to coach would get fired up and throw his hat at you. All right, so Kirstie Alley is over on the British version of Celebrity Big Brother. At first she had kind of basically she talked about back in the day, she used to do some drugs, and she really liked cocaine.
I did drugs for about 4 years when everybody, I went through the 60s and most of the 70s and never did drugs. And then I did coke, and it was all over like for 4 years. I went, oh my God, I'm going to do this every day for the rest of my life.
Really?
And then cut to 2.5 years later, it just snagged my soul. Like
Really?
Nothing. It just kills your soul somehow. So
then
that
you
was
gain
really
weight.
good then.
Stop that. Was there an incident that woke you up to that?
There actually was. When I had my niece and nephew and they were very young. They were over at my house and I went upstairs and I was snorting coke, and then I came down and I was taking care of them, and I thought, my God, I'm up here snorting coke and then coming down and taking care of these babies. This is horrible.
So I got rid of the kids.
I called my sister and I lied and I said, I don't feel good. Can you come and get the kids? So she did. That was when I just went, you've lost your soul, totally. I'd stepped over the line. So it was that. Now the crazy was running me instead of me being wild.
I like that she said I called my sister-in-law. That's probably for the better. Hey, I was upstairs snorting coke and I realized I shouldn't be watching the kids. Like, right. I don't feel good. That's the way to go.
Excuse me. Yeah, that doesn't end well.
Right. Hey, man, I'm snorting coke and I'm taking fine care of the kids. I'm just now having a crisis of conscience.
Yeah, I mean, almost. I can't imagine calling anybody and being like, hey, man, I am wasted. You better come over and get the kids.
Right. I knew I was babysitting, but I am effed up.
Right. She also said that she's, quote, she's friends with Courtney Love, and one time she asked me to dinner, and when I came, what's his name? Oh my God, Elton John was at dinner. There was only 4 of us. Then she said there was another time she went over to Courtney Love's house for snacks, and Prince Charles was there.
Huh.
What?
That's a weird combination of people.
Thank you. Obviously, people are like, Prince Charles has never been to Courtney Love's house. Like, what are you talking about?
Maybe it was the cocaine again.
I think it's a different drug. Like, Kirstie Alley's always been a little odd. Like, I think even if she's clean, she would still be a little strange. I don't think the drug.
She looks like the person who just grabs your hand and jumps with you into a dumpster and has sex with you.
Right. I mean, exactly.
Come on, let's go. Let's just do this.
I just don't understand what the connection could be between Courtney Love and Prince Charles.
Nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
and then
like,
Kirstie Alley's there too. And this seems
even
awfully
John
weird.
kind of threw me off. Unless he was just being nice. You know,
it was early on, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but as long as we've known who Courtney Love is, Elton John's been on top of the world at least since 1970. So by the time Courtney Love came to anyone's concert, and he's like the ultimate dude diva. And it's I just can't picture him sitting down.
He's been on like the VH1 where they used to have the diva stuff. Like he was on one.
He
admits it.
Oh, he's straight up about it. He's like, I want my baby grand piano with this. I have someone carry my umbrella. He doesn't give an F.
Does he have a song called The Bitch Is Back?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's an aggressive queen.
But keep one thing in mind. I want you to remember this. With Elton John songs, he's had one writing partner. Elton John writes the music. Partner. So the bitch is, I'm getting the feeling Bernie Taupin. Probably, no, Elton, it's not about you.
No, you just sing it.
No.
Sing
yeah,
it.
I'm talking about someone else.
Yeah, you're not high maintenance at all, Elton.
If your name's Elton.
Yeah, you either got to be a singer or an athlete, right?
I don't even think that's his real name. So if you chose to change your name to Elton, you're like letting people know, I'm a little difficult.
Always. Let's see. Some ratings. America's Got Talent is always in there. A repeat of NCIS came in the top 10.
Boom.
Eighth. And then 60 Minutes, but that was a new one. So
you would think that cable does not exist. Like back in the days of 3 networks, you'd understand that a rerun of NCIS is on. But if you've already seen the show, like take this opportunity to take an hour and discover something on one of the other 9,000 frickin' channels.
I don't wanna.
Maybe
I like NCIS.
I know.
NCIS has been there for me.
And I'm not crazy at all.
Right? Let's see. Help me out here. The yesterday, I'm blanking on this band now. Tom, whatever. Radiohead.
Oh, Tom York.
Tom York. Thank you. So, Zach Krager, he was on a show and he was talking about going to a Radiohead show and he got a little excited and he loves Tom York, but it ended badly.
Radiohead's playing. They're fantastic. Tom York is singing. I'm loving it. And I have this great idea that I should crowd surf. And Ryan, I'm like, Ryan, boost me up. He's like, yeah, man. And he launches me up over these people's heads towards the stage. No one's ready for this. No one's been crowd surfing the whole time. I knock these people in the back of the head. I take out like 4 people onto the ground. And I realize as I'm standing up that the music has completely stopped. And Tom York, my hero, is staring at me and he goes, "Kid, no more crowd surfing!" And I was like mortified, obviously. People who crowd surf are kids. You are a dickhead. Like he did it. He said dickhead so many times. So I go sneaking off to the side. I stand against the wall. I want to leave. He's like, finish the song. Finish the song. He finishes the song. And then when he's done, he like looks around and he finds me hiding. He's like, unbelievable dickhead.
Worse. I mean, that's what I was saying yesterday. I just don't know Radiohead why you think people would be crowd surfing.
No. Yeah, I mean, Tommy York looks like he stepped on a power line.
I don't even know why you would be dancing. Do you think you would just be there and falling asleep? It's Radiohead.
Doesn't he kind of do like a weird little thing?
If you stepped on a power line and no one realized you were actually being electrocuted, they would think you're imitating him. To his credit, he just gets into his stuff. It just happens that the way he gets into it is very different than most people. Like it's like he's seizing. It's like, no, man, he's just singing. He's feeling the music. But he is on stage the way the crackhead is walking down the street. Like everything's kind of shaking.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's like, dude, are you okay? It's like, oh, no, he's happy.
Yeah, and I mean, Radiohead's good, but I'm with you. That does not seem like
crowd surf.
Yeah, that does not seem like a crowd surfer, as Miles just said. Like, that doesn't even seem like a dancing.
I mean, most bands are. You know, Taylor Swift, she's on top of the world. I don't expect crowd surfing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, right, you're the biggest person.
It's not that type of show, right?
It's just not.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to go crowd surfing, like, you got to be generally at a rock band, and it hasn't been too long.
You have to be a young rock band show.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It can't be like somebody that...
The older bands, it ain't happening.
No.
Yeah, I didn't see any...
Hold me back! Put me down! I don't think Slayer will be jumping off the stage.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. All right, still to come. Mike's got your headlines coming up here in just a few minutes. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. Sad news as farting security guard and internet sensation Paul Flart has been fired from his job. Meanwhile, a naked man bursts from his home and stops a man whose Range Rover he was trying to rob. Another day, another ball python, this time Wisconsin, under the hood of a car. When you go around attacking random priests, you are taking things a little bit too far. And a man in China is charged with a double murder. The weapon, a yoga ball. It is time for your headlines.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my cock.
Our top story, a security guard that went viral online by the name of Paul Flart has been fired from his position after his employer caught wind of his internet shenanigans. The guard posted videos over a stretch of about 6 months of him sitting at his post and cutting the cheese.
Mm-hmm. Why did they fire him? Because he did it, quote unquote, on the job?
That's what I'm guessing.
I mean, come on, man.
But I think we talked about this earlier. Really, his job is to sit there and watch monitors in which nothing is happening.
Right.
Okay,
and he had
a little
fart.
fun with it.
Okay. I mean, if he sat there and read a book, no one would complain.
Right.
He farted, he posted it, people laugh. It's really nothing.
He's playing on his phone, if he's on Facebook, nobody cares. The man farts on video, and it generates all this buzz. No. We'll have to fire the man.
I like him.
Get Paul a job. In other news, here's why men are not in charge of wedding planning. A man in Scotland was tasked with organizing his wedding day, and his budgeting did not do too well. The man spent about $1,400 on his bachelor party so his crew could drive around Europe for about 4 days, visiting 9 countries.
Okay.
He then spent $14,000 on a Mr. Bean impersonator to drive his bride to the venue because they had gone to see Mr. Bean on their first date. So it's really romantic what he did here. His budgeting made for an exciting couple days, but didn't leave much for the venue, decorations, or the bridesmaids' dresses.
You know what? I think that's fine. But I'm a guy, and I know that no one agrees. But, look, the wedding, I know how it's going to play out, but in theory, you're just getting married. It's the rest of your life. It's not the day.
Let's enjoy this. A man in England was attempting to steal a car right out of someone's driveway and didn't realize who he was trying to rob. The man was caught on security camera trying to steal a man's Land Rover that was parked out on the sidewalk. When he busted the door open, the car's lights and alarm went off, alerting the owners inside of the house. The footage then shows a man running out of the home, stark naked, and tackling the man as he tries to escape.
Oh,
he was held there with the naked man on top of him as police were called.
That's really the worst part.
Right? I don't want it.
I would make it a point to sit on his chest and keep inching it closer.
Oh, no.
It's about to brush your cheek, brother.
I'm just holding him down. All right, guys, it is time for another exciting episode of
Man vs. Beast.
Reddit.
Man vs. Beast.
Do we need all of that?
Yeah.
Seems Hair Club said that was okay.
He did. I said it to him. He said, do it.
It sounds like one frog beat the piss out of 20 different animals.
Mostly foul.
Okay.
All
right. Okay. You gonna stick with it?
I love it, man. I'm sticking with it. A woman in Wisconsin is the latest story of people finding an unwelcome passenger in her car. The woman was driving down the road when she realized that her car was driving weird, and after she pulled over, she popped the hood of the car to find a massive python coiled next to the engine of the car.
In Wisconsin?
This is just going to become a daily thing. Then,
Where do these snakes come? Like, we had another story. It was like in Ohio. It's like, but
on the mailbox?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just people must just let them out.
That was Massachusetts, I think.
Yeah, either way, it's like it's not where pythons live.
Right.
Snake on the car.
People are getting all these freaking exotic snakes because snakes are wonderful pets. You know, people will try to say they're really cuddly. They'll come up right next to you. They're actually really friendly. No.
They'll come up next to you and they cuddle you because they're trying to strangle you.
Right.
And the fact that, look, if your dog runs away, it might come back home. If your snake leaves, your snake is gone.
He's out.
Right.
Snake's out.
Snake's out.
Snakes, out. Birds. I mean, look, man, either you suck as an owner or certain animals don't care.
She called police who couldn't get the snake to let go of its grip on the car, so a snake specialist was called to remove the animal.
I wonder, like, even if you're a cop, right? So they show up, obviously, this is above your pay grade, so to speak. You can't figure it out. Then you go, we need to call a snake expert. And I go, all right, great. Where the hell do we find a
That's
snake?
what I was saying. Like, how can I get this job? Like, how do I become one of these people? Like, is there a school I can go to or what?
A pair of tourists in Italy better hope the authorities don't track them down after ignoring the law of the land. It's not unlike tourists to jump into the many fountains in the country, although it is against the law, but these two boys saw fit to dress down to their skivvies and jump in for a great photo opportunity. The locals are particularly angry about this instance because the fountain that they were goofing off in sits at Rome's altar of the fatherland. This is basically their tomb of the unknown soldier, representing the hundreds of thousands that were killed in World War I.
Absolutely.
Come on, man. I mean, I know kids are kids. I was in D.C. once. There was a field trip there. I'm there with my father. Vietnam Memorial Wall. Kid threw a soda cup. I thought my father was waiting to kill
Oh,
this
man. Don't do it. That's it for your headlines with that. Mike Hawk is out.
Thank you, Mike. We'll see you next time with Alice in Chains, Ted versus the FCC, and bad jokes.
Yes, indeed. A woman named Alice we've chained up. We are out of here. Until tomorrow, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network. Oh, man. A Double Flush production.